Today I've got a listener question about target transitions. The question is there a trick to fast, long transitions? When I land on a target, I have a lot of wiggle side to side trying to get center. I'm not talking about waiting and over confirming, but rather, how do I settle the wiggle? I'm currently trying to speed up transitions, and I'm really coming in hard with a lot of movement. Okay, this is good. I'm fairly confident I know what the person's talking about. So wide target transitions would be a ton of space between the targets, and the normal recommendation I would have is just look where you want the bullets to go. Just look and let the sight kind of just float to where you're looking. But there's a point where it's a wide uh, variation or wide swing for target transitions. And if I'm shooting one target, it wouldn't make any sense, even if my eyes go first, to move the gun this slow as I try to make the gun track from target to target. So you have to juice it or push the gun a little bit. A little bit. So what I think this person's talking about is he's trying to get the gun quickly from spot to spot, but when he pushes the gun, it's bouncing around a little bit, and he's trying to do it quickly, but having a tough time to get it to stop doing that bounce. So here is the advice. For, again, like imagine this so far they're off screen, wide, off camera. For the wide transition so far, once you get done shooting the first target, eyes snap to the other target just like you would normally. And then I just push the gun a little bit, maybe a third or a half of the arc, and then let it coast on the back half into the target. So it end up looking something, where it's like I push the gun a little bit, and then it just kind of floats at the last little part into the target. I realize it's probably not working that well on a webcam, but hopefully this is making sense. So the part where he is talking about he's trying to speed up transitions, I think that's flawed thinking. For target transitions, I never think about them in terms of speed, which sounds totally crazy. Instead, I think about them in terms of precision. Because any extra amount of speed, whether it's pushing like these little short movements, any amount of speed, if I try to push on the gun just a little bit, the target transitions will end up really imprecise, where it'll bounce, like what this person is describing, whenever the sight uh, stops, or any amount of tension is going to make it where it maybe goes past the target. You have to make a correction and bring it back. Bunch of bad things can happen. So when doing the wide target transitions, it's important to you wait until you're done shooting that target. Once you are, eyes and head snap to the target, and then I just push the gun a little bit of the way and let it float the rest of the way in. My eyes are ahead of the gun, and then once the dot floats or your sights float into where you're looking at, then you can fire. But still in terms of a precision, not in terms of a speed. And I think that's a little bit misunderstood, because it'll look fast, but due to the fact that the sight's going exactly to where I'm looking and I'm pressing the trigger the instant it gets there, because I don't have to make, not over aiming, but then not needing to make any corrections. If the sight goes right to where you're looking, you can fire immediately the instant it gets there. So hopefully that's helpful for addressing wide target transitions. Then again, briefly, just to talk about narrow target transitions or just normal. The advice for that is just, tense up your shoulders or anything. Just look where you want the guns to go and the sight to go, and just you end up just floating the gun from spot to spot. And I think of that in terms of precision, not in terms of how hard I can shove the gun. Important stuff is your eyes go first. So I wouldn't want to follow the sight all the way across from the target. Instead, if I was done shooting, I'd want to look, then have the sight go, look, have the sight go. So my eyes are always going out first. The more specific you can be with your vision, the better. So you don't want to look at shapes and colors of the target. Instead, looking for the very dead center, or if it's a partial target, looking at the spot you want to drive the bullets to. If it's a steel popper, maybe I find a little flake where it was shot previously and there's a little bit of paint chipped or something like that. Obviously, at some point, the targets get far enough away you can't see details like perforations or little marks like that on the target, but I'm still looking to that small of an area on the target. Because again, the more specific you could be, the better. If I just look at the outline of the target or the shape of the color of the target, it'll just end up having bullets go somewhere on the target. but probably not centered up. And, you know, precision's kind of part of the name of the game. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question about doing wide target transitions. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them below. If you have any other shooting questions, I will try my best to answer them. I do read through the comments. I'm sure there's some I missed, but I try to respond to people. If it's a short answer, I'll just, hey, short version is yes, no, what I would buy or how to set it up. If it's more of a complicated question, then it's just easy enough to make a video anyway because someone else probably has the same question. So anyway, I guess like, share, subscribe if you want. Either way, I appreciate you watching.